I've always been drawn to places forgotten by time. You know the type. Abandoned hospitals where the walls still hold echoes of the past. Rusted amusement parks where laughter died decades ago. There's something about those empty spaces, like they're waiting for someone to remember them, to unlock the stories hidden in the dust. Marrow Creek wasn't supposed to be one of those places. At least, not in any normal sense. It was different. Nobody talked about it much. It didn't pop up on my usual forums or exploration blogs. It was erased, completely wiped off most maps after the early 70s. No warnings, no official explanations, just rumors and whispers. I first stumbled across Marrow Creek because of Kyle. He's an explorer like me, but a little more grounded. When he sent me that thread buried deep on Reddit, I was hooked. It was mostly stories from people who went looking for the town and never came back, or came back changed. One post stuck with me, a hiker's last transmission before his phone died, static, strange low whispers in the background, and then a chilling voice muttering, "The roots remember." I couldn't get that line out of my head. Curiosity is a dangerous thing, but I needed to see it with my own eyes. I met Kyle in person a week later. We sat in a cramped coffee shop, surrounded by the hum of ordinary life. I showed him the few scraps I had gathered. "You really want to chase a ghost town that vanished off every map?" he asked, eyebrows raised. "Yes," I said simply, "because no one else will." Kyle hesitated, but he agreed to join me. We planned every detail: gear, cameras, GPS trackers. We even reached out to a retired forest ranger. He warned us twice over the phone. "Stay away from Marrow Creek," he said, voice low and shaky. "That place isn't dead. It's waiting. The soil, it remembers." It was the kind of warning that makes you want to go even more. The week before our trip, I barely slept. I kept replaying that old static-filled audio. I downloaded every scrap I could find. Photos with faces half hidden in shadows. Strange footprints in the mud. Reports of people hearing whispers in the trees. I even started hearing things myself. Small noises at night. A faint humming that stopped whenever I looked. I told myself it was just nerves, or the mind playing tricks. But the deeper I got, the harder it became to ignore the feeling that something was watching, waiting for us. That's how it all began. The morning of our hike, the air was thick with damp and pine. We packed our bags, cameras, flashlights, snacks, and drove as far as the car would go. We parked at a cracked forest road that faded into nothing but trees. Kyle joked, "If we get eaten by bears, tell my mom I loved her." I laughed, but inside, my heart was pounding. We set off on foot, GPS in hand. For a while, it worked. The trail was faint, almost forgotten, but still there. Birds chirped lazily. Squirrels darted through the branches. It felt like any other forest hike. Then, the signal dropped. 1 second, the little blue dot showed our location. The next, nothing. Just a spinning circle. Kyle frowned. "That's weird." I shrugged. "Probably just a dead zone." But then the forest grew quieter. The birds vanished. The insects stopped buzzing. Even the wind hushed. It was like stepping through an invisible wall. We walked further. The trees seemed to crowd in tighter. Their trunks twisted. Bark cracked like old scars. Shadows stretched long, though the sun was still high. Then suddenly, the forest opened up. There it was, Marrow Creek. It wasn't what I expected. I thought we'd find collapsed roofs, piles of rubble or signs of decay. But no, the houses stood still, silent, but whole. Windows dark, but intact. Doors hanging slightly open, like they were waiting for someone to come home. Even the streets were clear, swept by some unseen hand. We stepped onto cracked pavement. The air smelled of wet earth and something metallic, like iron mixed with rust. Kyle shivered. "This place feels wrong," he said. I nodded, but kept moving. We walked through town slowly, cameras rolling. On the ground, I noticed footprints, fresh. They led toward the largest house in the center, the one we decided would be our base. The front door creaked as I pushed it open. Inside, dust danced in the fading sunlight. The furniture was covered in sheets, but under the tarp, you could see outlines, chairs, tables, piano. I touched the piano keys. They were sticky, but when I pressed one, the faint note echoed. Too clear, too alive. Kyle found the kitchen. A plate of rotting food sat on the table, blackened, crusted. "This was someone's home," he said quietly. "I don't think they left by choice." We set up camp in the living room, cameras pointed toward the windows. As night fell, the temperature dropped. The house groaned and settled, but I swear I heard whispers. At first, I thought it was the wind through cracks, but the whispers were too close, too deliberate. I tried to shake it off. Kyle didn't sleep. He said he kept hearing footsteps above us. The attic. I wanted to explore it, but the stairs looked fragile, covered in cobwebs and dust thick enough to sink in. Kyle insisted. "I'll check it out," he said. I watched him climb the creaky ladder, flashlight cutting through the darkness. 5 minutes passed, then 10. "Kyle?" I called. No answer. My heart slammed. I climbed after him. At the top, the attic was cramped and cold. Boxes lined the walls, old clothes, newspapers yellowed with age. Then I saw it, a small leather-bound journal lying on the floor, half hidden beneath a pile of rotten blankets. I picked it up carefully, blew the dust away. The first page was dated 1971, the handwriting shaky but clear. I read aloud. "They come at night, whispering from beneath the roots. My son talks to them. I fear the quiet man in the floorboards." A sudden noise behind me made me spin. The attic door slammed shut. I was trapped. The attic door slammed with a force that echoed through the old wooden beams. I froze, heart hammering, fingers clutching the journal like a lifeline. For a moment, the only sound was my shallow breathing. I tried the door, locked. Panic started to rise, but I forced myself to stay calm. I pulled out my flashlight, shining it around the cramped space. Nothing moved. Then the whispers began. Soft, almost like the rustling of dead leaves, but with a voice behind it, barely audible, barely human. I pressed my ear to the floorboards, and my blood ran cold. There beneath the wood, I could hear murmurs, children's laughter, faint, distant, but mixed with something older, darker. The voice from the journal haunted me, the quiet man in the floorboards. I slammed my palm against the door. "Kyle, open up." No answer. Minutes passed. I sat down, hugging my knees, eyes darting to the journal. I flipped through the pages. The writer was a woman named Grace, a mother, trapped in the town during its last days. Her words spiraled from hope to desperation. She wrote about her son, Tommy. He had started talking to the things in the trees. She begged them to leave, but they whispered back, promising to keep Tommy safe if she stayed silent. Her final entry was smeared with something dark, sticky. It read, "They're under the roots now. They want us to forget, to disappear." My flashlight flickered, then went out. In the pitch black, the whispers grew louder. I slammed the door again. Then, the door creaked open, slowly. Kyle stood there, pale, eyes wide. I don't know what happened," he said, voice trembling. "I was upstairs, then I was outside. For 3 minutes. I swear, I lost time." I helped him down, but he was distant, distracted. That night, the house seemed to breathe. The walls whispered, shadows moved in the corners. Kyle didn't sleep. He kept staring at the floorboards. I recorded everything, hoping to catch proof of what we were hearing. At around 3 a.m., my camera picked up something I couldn't see. A faint glow beneath the floor, pulsing like a heartbeat. The whispers became voices. "Stay! Listen! Join us!" I woke Kyle. We couldn't stay another night. But as dawn broke, we found the front door wouldn't open. The first light of dawn should have been a relief. Instead, it felt like the sun was just another actor, playing a part in this endless nightmare. We tried the front door. Locked. Not just stuck. Locked. Kyle and I pulled, shoved, but it didn't budge. Panic set in. We searched the windows. They were sealed shut, thick with grime. No way to break them without attracting attention. The forest outside, our only way out, was visible through the glass, but the path we took to enter, gone. The trees had shifted. The landscape twisted like a maze. No matter which way we tried, we ended up back at the house. Marrow Creek had become a trap. Days passed, or maybe hours. Time blurred. Kyle changed. He stopped talking to me, started whispering to himself, staring into mirrors, as if seeing something I couldn't. Caught him once, muttering to his reflection, "You belong here now." The whispers weren't just outside anymore. They were inside our heads. At night, I'd hear my name called, softly, over and over. I recorded myself sleeping. On playback, I heard voices, whispering warnings, promises, threats. I tried to block it out, but the journal's warning echoed in my mind. If you answer them, they will follow you home. I wanted to leave, desperately, but the town refused. Every path, every door, every window led back inside. It was as if Marrow Creek was alive, waiting, watching. One night, Kyle disappeared. I woke to find the bed beside me empty. No sign of struggle, no footprints outside. Only whispers in the dark. I searched every corner of the house. Then I found it. A trapdoor, beneath the kitchen rug. It wasn't there before. I lifted it slowly. Below it, a narrow staircase, descending into darkness. Heart pounding, I grabbed my flashlight and climbed down. The tunnels smelled of earth and rot. Roots twisted along the walls like veins. Faces, half-formed, screaming, writhed beneath the dirt. I heard Kyle's screams, echoing through the tunnels. I ran toward them. Then silence. The whispers grew louder, surrounding me. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. I stumbled through the tunnels, cold sweat dripping down my face. Kyle's screams had stopped. The silence was worse, thick, suffocating. Roots curled like fingers, brushing my skin, pulling me deeper. Faces emerged from the dirt, twisted, silent, watching. I called out for Kyle, my voice cracking. No reply. Ahead, a faint light flickered. I crawled toward it and found a small chamber. Kyle was there, eyes vacant, murmuring in a language I didn't understand. "The quiet man," he whispered. "He's here." Suddenly, the roots shifted, wrapping around Kyle's legs, pulling him under. I screamed, grabbed his hand. He looked at me, a flicker of recognition. "Run," he gasped, but the roots tightened. I tore free, scrambling up the stairs, as the whispers turned into laughter, cold, cruel, and endless. Back in the house, everything had changed. The walls bled shadows. The floor pulsed beneath my feet. I grabbed my camera and ran. The forest path had returned, peering like it had never vanished. I didn't look back, couldn't. I ran, through the trees, heart pounding, breath catching in my throat. When I finally reached my car, hands shaking, I turned on the recorder. But the last thing it captured wasn't my voice. It was the whispers, calling, waiting. If you're hearing this, don't come to Marrow Creek. Because once you listen to the whispers, they never stop. Hi, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you to all my listeners. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to enjoy more stories. And be sure to drop your comments. I'll be looking forward to reading them. See you soon, and thanks for watching.